Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey from squatting over 400, deadlifting over 500, to spinal fusion surgery. I was preparing to do my very first powerlifting meet. This was 5 years ago. And I was really trying to work on my strength. I had a herniated disc in my back since I was 19 years old. At this point, I was 30. And I started to lift heavier. It wasn't a very good idea looking back on it, but when you have certain goals, you kind of put the blinders on and then you go for your goals. I had several setbacks over the years with my back, and they just kept getting worse and worse by the time I was like 29, 30 years old. So then I saw a terrific neurosurgeon, Dr. Roth, here in New Jersey. And he recommended I go through a procedure called a microdiscectomy. Basically what a microdiscectomy is, it's like, here's your spine, you have the disc pop out a little bit. They come in with a laser and they chop it off so it's flush back to your spine. So, because what causes the pain when you have back problems, if you have a herniated disc, presses on the nerve, it protrudes a little bit, and that's what presses on your nerve, and you have that pain sensation. Sometimes it's so bad you can't even stand up. So I had the microdiscectomy, and after 3 or 4 weeks, I felt great, as good as new. So I started lifting heavier again. I worked my way up to a 405-pound back squat. I was weighing about 165 pounds at the time. 405 back squat, 515-pound deadlift, which for my size at the time was very good. I know now you go on YouTube and Instagram and you see everybody and their mother lifting 600-700 pounds, so it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But if you've never lifted that much weight, it's heavy. So I got up to 515 on the deadlift, 405 on the squat, and then I was in my car, in my driveway one day. I was actually coming home for a washer and dryer delivery in my driveway, and I sneezed. Now, if you ever threw your back out on a sneeze, you know how painful that is. But this was the sneeze of a lifetime. I couldn't move. I couldn't stand up out of my car. I had to crawl out of my car into my house. What made it worse was that delivery came, so I had to crawl around and telling the delivery guys where to put the washer and dryer. The next couple of weeks after that was rough. I couldn't get out of bed for like 2 weeks. Thankfully, my wife was able to go over to my doctor where they had a prescription waiting for me for some muscle relaxers. After a while that helped and I was ready to just stand. Nowhere near ready for physical activity of any sort. I was able to stand and get around. Saw my neurologist again, and he said this time, I recommend a spinal fusion. Now, I'm not a professional athlete, so like a normal person, I have to wait for the surgery. I believe I waited 2 or 3 months, finally got it done, and if anybody out there watching that has had the spinal fusion surgery, you know how tough it is. I had one level, L5-S1, that's the most common one from what I'm told. I was in the hospital, I think, for 2 nights, nothing too crazy. My mom had spinal fusion surgery years before that. She was in the hospital for like a week, but in the hospital the next day I was walking around, trying to work my way up to get out of the hospital. So then for the next few weeks, my only exercise was walking. I had this big brace on. Now imagine like a weightlifting belt, but like double the size, and it has a hard plastic shell on the back. So that was basically my support. I had to wear that all the time. I remember walking one time. I walked down the block, across the street and back, and it took me over 10 minutes, and then I was done for the day. That's a far cry from deadlifting 515 pounds. So the recovery was really slow, and also I was in pain every day, as you can imagine. They cut your spine open, put in a metal rod, some screws, they put you back together, and you're on your way. Because of my history with lifting weights and exercise and everything, and at that time I was coaching at a gym, My doctor didn't even have me go to physical therapy or anything. He basically said, you know what you have to do to strengthen. Just do it at your own pace, and we'll reconvene every few months. I saw progress. It was very slow. Probably like 3 months, and then I could start light exercising again, meaning like push-ups, air squats, stuff like that. Eventually I progressed, got back to exercising. I was in pain every day for 3 years after the surgery. And I'm one of the lucky ones, because there's people who have had spinal fusion surgery that are in pain for the rest of their lives. I feel like, with my strength training background, that definitely helped me in my recovery. And then I refused to just sit still and relax after the surgery. I made sure I was very active all the time, as much as I could. So that helped me. But for those first 3 years, being in pain every day, things like just putting my socks on was incredibly painful. So if anybody's watching this and has had spinal fusion surgery or has back issues that they're considering surgery, I would first recommend doing whatever you can to not have the surgery. The results are not guaranteed. Some people have great results, but the results are far from guaranteed. I'm 5 years out of back surgery, and now I'm finally starting to lift heavy again. I probably could have before, but there was really no need to. But now I kind of want to see where I'm at. Any day of the week I could walk up to a barbell 405 pounds and I could deadlift it, no problem. But I want to see if I could get back up to the 500 pound mark. I'm going to do it smart. I'm not going to just jump right into it. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. No big deal. I've done it once in my life. That's fine. My kids think I'm strong as it is. 405 pound deadlift is, nothing to really laugh about anyway, because when you look at the grand scheme of things, how many people could walk up to 400 pounds and pick them up? Aside from strong people at the gym, everyday people, nobody could really do that. So that's my perspective on it. I'm going to build myself back up. This is my journey to try to get a 500 pound deadlift after spinal fusion surgery. So stay tuned, follow along. If anybody has any questions, if you're suffering from back issues, or if you had surgery and you don't know what your next step is, please contact me. Hit me up in the comments. Go on social media, leave some comments, direct messages, anything, guys. I love to help out anybody who needs the help. Or if you're just entertained watching what somebody, who's had his spine basically ripped open and repaired, seeing what I could do in the future. If you like the video, make sure you click that like button. Please subscribe and share with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one.